backdrop surrounding the lovely city of Liuzhou here in southern China. It's the fourth round of the 2015 UIM Formula One World Championship for powerboating, the 21st Grand Prix of China. Hi, everybody. I'm your host, Steve Mike, along with my broadcast partner, many-time world champion Jonathan Jones, and we greet you on a warm and historic day as we start our second half of the 2015 campaign and begin our third decade of racing here in the People's Republic of China. Now, 60 days ago, at the last Grand Prix, which took place for the first time in the northern Portugal city of Porto, was truly something special. Let's roll the clock back and take a look. On a brilliant sunshiny day here in Porto in Portugal, tens of thousands of people watching the boats come off the dock. 20 drivers from 4 different continents fighting for position in World Championship points in round number 3 of this championship. And Philippe Shep jumped out quickly to challenge Sami Celio, who had the pole. Shep looking aggressive early on. Celio doing his best to hold him off, but Shep would not give up on this day as he first pushed and then slid out and grabbed the lead. And Philippe Shep somehow found a nice move to get around the two-time world champion, and then the world champion had a problem as Celio got blown over by Alex Corella as he was on the backside of the straightaway. And on the replay, the two were able to get side by side with each other. The important thing was Celio was okay in the boat, but there you can see spectacularly as Celio blew over twice and he exited the race. And on the restart, 3 boats fighting for the number 1 spot as Shep with Eric Stark, the rookie from a year ago from Sweden, fighting with Francesco Catando, but it was Philippe Shep who was able to work his way around and put more distance between the driver from Sweden and Alex Corella, the driver who is a 3-time world champion, chasing back in third. Here on the final lap, the battle begins as they work their way down through, and it was just enough as Philippe Shep was able to power his way from the rest of the field, and he will take the victory, his first of his year, 4th of his career, and he moves up into second place in the championship, just 1 point behind Sean Torrente. So the defending world champion, a big day for him to get back in the championship picture. It was Philippe Shep, the victor in Portugal. Big smile for the Frenchman, and why not? What a great day for him. Now, the race circuit here on the Leo River is very fast and technical and has always been full of drama and sprinkled with suspense. Some drivers love it, some don't. Let's bring you in here, Jonathan, and talk about what are your feelings toward this venue and what can we expect around this 6-pin, 2-kilometer circuit this afternoon?
Well, it's pretty much the same circuit that we've had now for the last 2 or 3 years, and it's a 2-kilometer circuit, 6 turn boys, 1 right-hander on the far end. And I guess the overtaking is going to be down on that far end between turns number 3, 4, and 5. To my mind, it could be a little bit, I'd rather see a circuit that was a little bit more complicated and a bit more demanding, let's say. But I think it's going to make for exciting racing because these boats around here this morning, there was a hair's breadth between each one of them in qualifying. So it's going to be a good race here this afternoon, no question about it. Conditions absolutely perfect.
Well, in 2009, your Grand Prix winner here in China was Jonas Anderson. Now, he comes 4th in this race right now as he sits in this 5th place position in the championship, and he's starting 5th off the dock this afternoon. How's he feeling about his chances today?
For sure we're going to push for a win, but many guys are very fast right now. I hope my new boat is going to give me some advantage of if it's good water, it's going to be very fast. So for sure we're going to push hard.
Still caught up in the mix. You're 4th in this championship.
Yeah, we still have a chance to get a great position, and I have been really working hard with my new boat. So hopefully if the condition is good, we can be fast and go for a win.
And for you especially, you got a second in Evian, so you know how to get down to the podium. Do you need to win this race today?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. Everybody's fast, but I'm going to do my best.
Well, cautious optimism for the Swede this afternoon. Now, Liuzhou has seen its share of wild and dramatic moments along with some dominating performances since it's first arrived on the calendar back in 2008. Here's a brief history lesson on this Grand Prix over the years. racing here in Liège has been a sensational special formula of speeds and dramas that goes back 8 years. And as you can see from the start right away, there was a problem in the opening round in 2008 as Guido Cappellini got caught up with Ahmed Al-Hamli at the start. And when they came around, Sami Celio thought he'd pick up the victory, but he dropped out, and surprise, surprise, the world champion Jay Price would win the first race ever here in Liège. And then a year later, it was Jonas Andersson picking up his victory in China in 2009. This, however, was a two-race format in that year, and coming back and storming his way through. But first, the world champion having a problem, Jay Price, dropping out all hopes of victory for him as he barrel rolled hard down in the corner. It was Sami Celio who benefited with the win. Jay Price, the American driver, getting revenge as he would come back and take his second victory in China in 2010. A year later, a dramatic race here in Liège on the new course, and Sami Celio would take the hardest hit of his career, ending his season in hopes for a championship. And instead, it was Daniel Quimsey who picked up the victory for Team Abu Dhabi. And in 2012, all sorts of drama happening on the race course. 3 boats on the restart. Sean Torrente, Sami Celio getting notched up together as they barrel rolled, hoping for victory. Celio ending his day and his hopes for a championship. And Alex Corello would benefit to take the victory in 2012. Would it continue? Alex Corello won it again in 2013 for 2 in a row. And from the pole in 2014, he did it again. Can he keep the streak alive this afternoon?
Well, one of the pleasant surprises of this 2015 campaign is the 4th year Kuwaiti driver Yusuf Al-Robian of the Formula One Atlantic team. We asked the 38-year-old driver about the difficulty he's feeling in the championship despite sitting 3rd in the drivers' points table.
I'm very happy, to be honest. I'm ready for, maybe this year is for me is different than the year before. It's hard. The championship this year is really hard. You have a lot of luck. It's, let's say, you go many times risky to get the pole, to be whether it's change. But this is, let's say, the champ. The world championship is not easy to be 1 or 2nd or 3rd. Everything is changing. So you need to be ready every time to be in spot.
Well, as we get closer to the start, let's give you a feel of this lovely area here in southern China that has been so special to all of us for so many years, the tropical and lovely Liège in China.
Liège, the city of over 3.5 million people, is located on the banks of the windy Liao River, 255 kilometers from Nanning, in the welcome subtropical climate from far south in the People's Republic of China. The city of Liège, more than 2,100 years old, known as the Dragon City. The landscape is a mix of rolling hills, mountain peaks, caves, and ideal for exploring the many mountain villages in the area. Liège has a large population of ethnic minorities, and there are many celebrations and festivals all year long. The area is famous for its jade, wonderstone, garments, and ornaments made by ethnic minorities, while fresh fruits are grown in the climate with kumquats, oranges, grapefruits, and the most popular and exported throughout the country. The young people today enjoy the benefits of a growing economy that comes with success in its automobile, steel products, and garment district that has really sent the area to new heights. It's a city of history, of culture, with flair of the modernistic style. It's all here in lovely Liège, China.
Lovely city as we welcome you back here live to Liège here in southern China. And as we begin the parade of boats as they'll come by one at a time, there's the man on the pole, Philippe Schupp, who plans to run a longer race this afternoon. And we had a chance to chat with him a bit to see how he is feeling about, is there a different strategy in running this 45-lap race today?
not possible to change the strategy. 45 laps or 38, the same strategy, but it's a long race and with special condition, very hot, and if you have the same condition to the qualifying, I think it's not easy race, but I like, and we have a good setup for the long race.
You've had a chance to experience practice when it was almost flat, mill pond the water, and then in qualifying yesterday when it was very rough. What's your favorite spot?
I like rough, but this year is too much. All the race is like this, and I prefer, of course, a good condition and safe condition. We have to crash yesterday, and very bad for my teammate and also for Eric. And I think it's a good thing he stopped qualifying, and I hope for today a safe race.
Well, he's very, very determined today. He's very, very serious as we go around and start this parade of boats as they circle through tens of thousands of fans that have turned up. This is a tradition here along the Liao River in the very southern part of China. We've been coming here since 2008. We've had a myriad of different winners. Some excitement as you had a chance to see just moments ago. Who will win today? Well, there's Liu Zhuang. Now, he is a local driver who was battling for a place in Q3 in the top 6 shootout yesterday and qualifying, hoping to get in front of his teammate and make it to the first top 6 of his career until this happened. Came out of turn number 3, pushing hard, got the boat up on edge. He tried to set the boat, heading for the right-hander, turn number 4, got it sliding. The boat finally dug in on the right spots, and he had nowhere to unsettle the boat. Barrel roll quickly, ended it. Now watch him come through the force that he took here as he went totally airborne, settled the boat back, and hit on the back transom. A violent hit, and yes, Liu Zhuang will have to today switch now. Liu Zhuang will be running a different boat than he had hoped for. He wanted to run this brand new boat, and you can see that it did just enough damage to where he will not get a chance to run that boat today, Jonathan. He goes down a couple of spots, and he is going to be starting way down in the 15th position. What a shame for him.
Yeah, and he's one guy we want to watch out for today, because I did have a chat with him earlier on, and he's fairly confident. I mean, the boat that they're using today in the race is it's a little bit older than the latest design built by David Moore from France. But he said in the practice this morning, Steve, he's very, very confident. He said the boat is a little bit easier to drive. It's that bit longer. And he said rather than being you have to be so precise with these latest very, very short boats, it allows him to drive the boat a lot smoother around the circuit. He put up some really good lap times there this morning, and he's fairly confident. And I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that this young lad from Shenzhen in China, brilliant guy, drives racing cars when he's not involved in Formula One powerboat racing, that he can truly show what he's made of here this afternoon in front of an enormous home crowd, and let's hope we can see him get fairly near to the podium, if not on the podium for the first time ever.
We had a chance to see the man on the pole, Philippe Shep. As you look back farther now, very interesting to see that Alex Corelli, he is the man that's been the dominator here. He's won the last 3 years in a row, 12, 13, and 14. And at the same time, another big pleasant surprise. Starting third will be Youssef Al-Robian, the driver from Kuwait, just 4 years into it, as Youssef is going to get a chance to start in his 23rd start. As you look out at the traffic, tremendous crowds here backing up, trying to get in here for the final few seconds. There you see the starting lineup. Thani Al-Quimsi, a great run for a driver, only has run 2 races this year. And Youssef Al-Robian, of course, a driver from Kuwait, along with Sami Celio, who is a 4-time qualifier here on the pole, 2-time winner. Jonas Anderson, a winner here in 2009, starting 5th. He's 5th in the championship. Duarte Benavente, a good surprise for him, making it to the top 6 in quite a long time, Jonathan. Then Ahmed Al-Hamli getting a chance to run for the Emirates team, starting in that 7th spot along with Alex Corella. We expect to see him come charging up, as is Sean Torrente. 7, 8, and 9. We will keep close tabs on them as they push their way toward the front. Jesper Fohr is the driver out of Sweden, and he is running less than 10 races in his career. Marit Stromoy has been struggling all weekend long, and Francesco Catando starting his 18th race Jonathan, here more than anybody else but Duarte Benavente, the rookie Alarico, and then farther down, Bernd Eisenhofer. Good to see him getting a chance to run. This will be his first official start of the year. And, of course, Leo Zhuang, we talked about, pushed all the way back to the 15th spot because of his boat breaking. And then Philippe Rams, of course, he also had a problem this morning. So the youngster who picked up his first ever podium back in Evian in France is going to start to the back of the field. So interestingly enough, as we look out down toward the south, yesterday it was rough, it was tough, it was blowing out of the north, strong winds, strong enough to where they had to really cancel Q3 and the challenge for the top 6 shootout, where they had to do 2 solo laps to see who could get pole position after a couple of strong accidents and very violent accidents. One by Eric Stark, the driver, the young driver from Sweden, who was sitting 3rd in the championship, has 27 points. He won't be able to start because he broke his hand. He also got a super large black eye as his boat literally submarined down in the far corner and starting that second session. So he's out for at least a month, but good news is he'll be okay. So he's been scratched from the start. And of course, we also lost Bartek Marzalak, the driver out of Poland, who we expected to start. He had problems mechanically with his boat, so he's not running. And then, oddly enough, we lost Nadar Ben-Hendy this morning, the driver from the Victory team. He and his teammate, Sean Torrente, kind of got together. Torrente didn't see him as he came out of turn number 5 and actually put enough damage on that brand new Moore boat that Ben-Hendy was expecting to run, and he can't start. So we had 19 drivers arriving. We're starting 16 this afternoon.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate for them. But let's go back to position 7, 8, and 9 there, Steve. We've got in 7th position Ahmed Al-Hamli, the driver from Abu Dhabi, running under that new Emirates team, which has been put together by Scott Gilman, Alex Carrell and Sean Torrente. Now, what's happened is this. The first 6 boats go straight to the first turn, boy. It's about 700 meters from the start pontoon right the way down. But 3/4 way down the chute, there is a demarcation, boy. And the UIM officials have said that from boat 7 right the way down to boat 16, they have to go to the right-hand side. Now, it does mean that those first 6 boats are going to have a lot shorter run into the first turn. And then you've got those 3 guys who are really hungry to win this race, no question about it. And 3 of the most experienced drivers here who have got to go on the outside. So watch out for the first couple of laps, because these guys are going to be pushing really, really hard. They're going to have to make up a lot of ground. And, you know, especially with Chiap, with the form that he's on at the moment, I mean, he's going to probably get a blistering start, and they're going to have their work cut out. But just watch these guys coming through the field today, because that's going to be really exciting. And the guys in the top 6 guys, they're going to have to watch their backs for this entire 45-lap race.
Yeah, you talk about that triumvirate there, the hat trick of drivers, Ahmed Al-Hamli in 27, Alex Carrella in number 6, and Sean Torrente in number 77. And, of course, you're talking about the Emirates team, Team Abu Dhabi, and Torrente and the Victory team. Remember, Sean Torrente leads this Drivers' Championship with 36 points. The man on the pole, Philippe Shep, is just 1 back with 35. And, of course, if you win, you pick up a total of 20 points. Now, there's 60 total points left up for grabs for this 2015 campaign. 2 more races, both in the Emirates, and the 10th and 11th in Abu Dhabi of December, and then, of course, 17th, 18th in Sharjah. So that'll wrap up the season. So we're all excited about going to the Emirates, and that's coming up. But right now, our eyes are fully focused on this race this afternoon. And as we mentioned, those 3 in the back, the 7th, 8th, and 9th, Jonathan, they're all going to have to go around the demarcation buoy. And boy, that'll be very interesting to see how that pans out. And you're looking at 19 Grand Prix wins between those 3 drivers. And no quarters given or given easily here on this racetrack.
No, that's going to be tough. And of course, between the last Grand Prix and this one, the engine tuners, they've been working night and day to get these boats running a little bit faster, trying to find the extra horsepower on the dynos and everything. I do know, I spoke to Alex Ledden, the Canadian engine guru last week, and they're working on some new project there with Philippe Chiappe, and looking very, very strong out there. The other engine builders we have are Ron Anderson, based in the US, Brendan Power, who's a very, very an intricate person in that team Abu Dhabi now, and he builds all the engines, and those two boats have been going really well. Thani El Kwamsi and Carella been putting up some fast times out there this morning, and then we've got Nico Valakarian from Belgium, who unfortunately has had a major operation recently and couldn't get out here, and he's been missed, I know, by one or two of the guys that use his engine. So, you know, it's not just about the boats. We've got 4 boat manufacturers here today. It's also, although the Mercury engines are all pretty much the same in cubic capacity, they're all tuned by various people. So it's going to be interesting. And on the boat front, we've got Moore, Mulga, DAC and Barber out here today, all in different positions. All these boats, they're very different, but they are a little bit the same. And when I say they're different, some accelerate a little bit better than others. Some have got more mid-range and top end. And it's just about finding that balance, isn't it, Steve? Getting the right boat with the right engine, the right propeller and driver. So it is a big combination of getting all that right on the day. And if you can do that, you've got a good chance of getting onto that podium.
45 laps around this afternoon. Yes, the weather conditions have turned dramatically for what they were 24 hours ago, and we had heavy winds coming out of the north, close to 20 knots as it was blowing straight down, causing havoc out on qualifying. But today it's almost like a mill pond. It looks like the river's almost frozen. There's very, very little wave action today. Just a bit of a breeze, more of a calming breeze than anything else, Jonathan. And what do you think? I mean, we're around this 2-kilometer, 1.25-mile race course, 6 pins, very little wind. Are we going to see much passing, do you think, today?
Well, you know, that's the million-dollar question. I mean, the start is so important because these boats are so evenly matched. I mean, in qualifying yesterday, there was just nothing between them, and you can see there on the map the pontoon there, which is on our side of the circuit by the checkered flag there. You can see the straight line going into turn number 5. That's about 700 meters, and as I said, 3/4 way down that chute, you've got the demarcation buoy where those other guys from 7th right the way to the end of the field have got to basically take a longer line before they get into the circuit. So, you know, that in itself is going to play a part in what's going on. But a lot of people wanting to watch this race here this weekend, wanting to win this race rather, Steve, this weekend. So I think it's going to be an exciting Grand Prix.
Well, we welcome you to the 254th Grand Prix in the history of this sport, in its 32nd year. Less than a minute to go. There's Luis Ribeiro, who is the UIM race commissioner. All power in his hands. You can see the tension that's building with him as these drivers from 12 different nations ready to put on a show for these tens of thousands of people. We start the second half of 2015. We are truly excited about what we expect to see this afternoon. A lot of great talent up in those top 10 spots, and it won't be easy for anybody to come through with the checkered flag and the victory today. Can it be the Frenchman, Philippe Chiappe? Will he win a key victory this afternoon and pull himself solidly into the lead of the Drivers' Championship, and we head off to Abu Dhabi in December? Or will it be somebody from behind, maybe Youssef Al-Robian in that 3rd place, who won for the first time 2 races ago in Evian in France? Could it be him winning for the 2nd time? All right, seconds before the starts, as we get to make sure that the lights are working, all drivers are going to have to say yes. They'll nod with approval that yes, they do clearly see the lights to make sure that they are going to be fair on the start today. Once they get all the approval from the drivers on the dock, you'll start seeing their crew chiefs moving away from holding the boat up on the gaff hook. So they're saying it's about 5 minutes to go, Jonathan. So really, when you think about it, these drivers very much alone with their thoughts now as they focus in on what they have to do. It's hot, it's humid, and a lot of these drivers are not used to this heat today. Will that be a factor? You need to be keen, especially in the final 10 laps of this very long 45-lap race.
Yeah, I mean, these drivers, they're enclosed in these safety cells in the cockpits of the boat, strapped in with a 5-point harness. And the other thing is, of course, it's very, very hot here today and very humid. But the important thing is to have good ventilation in that cockpit, Steve, so that there's plenty of air around the drivers' faces and everything. And, you know, it doesn't get them too hot. Otherwise, it can get up to about 100 degrees plus in that cockpit. The start is going to be critical. I know I've mentioned this earlier today, but you can see there right at the end of the pontoon, Philippe Chiappe, the French driver. Pole position, because everything is so close out there, just means that much more. He can take a direct line into the first turn, boy. If somebody is a little bit quicker, let's say second, third or fourth, they cannot come across him. So he gets the fair line because he got that pole position into the turn, boy. Once they've gone round the turn, boy, which is that number 5 down the far end of the circuit, then it's a free-for-all, and then you're going to see a lot of action going on. So I'm sure he's pretty happy that he's in that position there, and also the fact that some of his main competitors out there, you know, Al Hamley, Alex Carella, and Sean Torrente, they've got to take that demarcation, boy, which is going to take them a lot longer to get up to the sharp end of the race.
Looking from the back of the grid toward the front, Philip Rams, the young driver from Finland, sitting back in that final 16th position. As we mentioned, we had 19 drivers show up from 12 different nations. We've got 16 starting this afternoon. And be interesting to see what the youngster in that number 12 machine does, but he's going to have a tough fight on his hands to get even into the top 10 today, as he's got Liu Zhuang next to him, the youngster, the Chinese driver, in that number 2 machine that we saw the accident that he made yesterday after such a startling qualifying run that he had done so well. He was actually faster than the pole sitter, his teammate Philippe Shep, at one point. And then he got it all wrong, and they had to shift back to last year's boat. This was actually the first time that he had a chance to ride in this boat. And with a new engine, he was all excited. And there's talent out there. It's just a matter of him getting it saddled in and getting it ready.
Yeah, and going back to Philip Robbins there, I mean, he's under the umbrella of Sammy Selio's team, and Sammy's been nurturing him on for the last year or two. And I was talking to Philippe's father last night, and they do know that they need to have quite a strong engine. He's moved from Formula 4S, the feeder class, into Formula 1, and he's really beginning now to feel the way that the boat handles on the water. He understands propellers a lot more, so, you know, he's gaining experience at every race. But over the winter, his dad was saying, you know, perhaps we're going to have to spend that little bit more money, start doing some engine tuning and things like that. And I think that then will move him way into the midfield, and hopefully then in a year or two, maybe we'll see him knocking on the door for 1 or 2 wins.
Yeah, actually yesterday, Philippe Rams was not feeling well. He was chasing down some medication, was very quiet, was not himself, didn't feel strongly at all about racing this weekend, but quickly he was able to get his sorts out, and he feels a lot better this afternoon, and he's got a smile on his face, so obviously he's ready to go racing here. But really, he's come back strongly from not feeling well yesterday, and it's good to see him back in the field, even though he'll start in that back of the position on the starting lineup next to Liu Zhuang. Remember, here in China, nobody from any racing team in this Chinese CTIC group, whether it was Pierre Lundin in the past or Philippe Shep or whatever, has ever won here in China. It would be a big, big day if the pole sitter, Philippe Shep, could win and pick up a victory. His best is a third, and he's been on the podium 3 different times, but he's never won. Let's see if he can do it this afternoon as we get closer and closer. The green flag coming up, Jonathan. The countdown clock continues. We're getting very, very close to the start of this 4th round of this 2015 UIM Formula 1 World Championship. And we wait for the 30-second board. And it comes up now, seconds before the start. All eyes glued on the 3 rows of lights waiting to come on. The drivers very much alone with their thoughts. We hold our breath here as the board continues to show. We expect to see the lights shortly here at a hot, steamy afternoon here in China. We wait for the rows of lights. The first, the second row comes on. Any second now. And they're underway, and they explode away from the dock at a pole sitter. Philippe Shep trying to hold off the charge of Thaniel Quimsey and Team Abu Dhabi as they go pushing up toward the top 6, heading for turn number 5. And as they work their way around, you can see the field splitting away. And a great start for Philippe Shep as he got it all right and now immediately takes off with a 5-boat advantage as he starts to power his way as he rockets down the front straightaway. Here as we start counting laps, the first of 45. And pushing hard is Yusuf Al-Robian trying to move up into second place as the field comes through as they come down in toward turn number 1 into turn number 2, Jonathan.
A blistering start there by Chiap, run by Team CTIC China. Crew. My goodness, he came off that start line, didn't he? Unbelievable. Second position there was Thani Al-Quamsi. He just didn't have an answer for him, Steve. They're going down the back end of the circuit now, and already he's built up a lead of about 3 or 4 seconds on the second place driver. Unbelievable pace by that lead boat.
Case of deja vu. We saw the same thing 2 races ago in Evian in France, and right away it looks like Philippe Shep is going to be the guy to beat this afternoon. He is just walking away, building up the real estate in a big, big way over second place man Thani Al-Quamsi. Now the fight for third is heating up. Sami Celio on the outside trying to make a move on Youssef Al-Robian as they head down into turn number 1 and number 2. And you can see Celio, the veteran 2-time world champion, now powering side by side, trying to go to the inside as they are sponsor to sponsor going down toward turn number 3.
And you can see Sami Celio there on the outside, Al-Robian on the inside, neck and neck as they come through that turn, boy. Number 4 into the right-hander. Sami Celio takes a tight line, and he's got him, Steve.
Very, very aggressive as the Finnish driver who won the world title in 2007 and again in 2010, and at the same time had a huge crash here in 2011, ended his year, and then in 2012 crashed again. So he's looking for good memories here. He hasn't had any since about 2009.
2 laps gone, and under this race, Philippe Shep 5.6 seconds ahead of Thani Al-Quamsi, lying in second. Celio now moved up to third position, 8 seconds behind that lead boat. Al-Robian, Jonas Andersen, Al-Hamli, he started moving up. He started in that position, number 7. He's up to 6. He's got some clear water. I think he's going to start making some ground. Alex Corella in 7, and the driver from Portugal, Benavente, hanging on there in 8th.
Well, he started 6. He's down to 8th as you shift their attention back, as you continue to watch the leaders as they come up and through, as they fight their way around. Jonas Andersen, Youssef Al-Robian back here. They're sitting there in that battle for third place. Robian lost his third place spot. Sami Celio looking very aggressive in his old boat. Remember, he crashed his boat heavily at the last race as he did the opening round. He's got 2 crashes in 3 races this year. He's gone back, old school, back to his old boat hull, and he looks strong right here. Looks like he's got some confidence. He's only 8 seconds back of Shep, but more importantly, he's only 2.5 back for second place, Thani Al-Quamsi. Sami Celio started 4th, is up in 3rd place as you watch this battle going on here.
And on the back straight now, Corella starting to make a move. He already overtook Benavente just on the far end of the circuit. Came inside, Sean Torrente behind him. Corella on the inside now, really pushing as hard as he can. He's got to make up so much ground. He overtakes Al-Hamli, and he's closing down nip and tuck at Jonas Andersen, who at the moment is in that 5th position. So we've got first Chiap, 7.7 seconds, Steve, between the first and second out here. They certainly don't seem to have an answer for that boat. Moore boat built in France by David Moore, engine tuned by Alex Ledden from Canada, propellers specially made by a guy out in Sweden, and what a strong package they got here this weekend.
Alex Corella, as you can see him, as he fights his way around. He's the guy who has won 3 straight races in a row. He's the dominator as he continues to push. But in front of him, he's got Jonas Andersen and Youssef Al-Robian as he works his way through. And right behind Corella is his old teammate, Sean Torrente. Torrente, who dropped back to 10th. Marit Stromoy passed him on the first lap. She did an ace of a move. She moved up 2 spots, went around Torrente. But since that time, Torrente has climbed 3 spots. He's up into 7th position for the man who was second quickest in morning warm-up.
Torrente just moved into 6th position. He's just taken Al-Hamli, so he's certainly on the move out there. But 23 seconds behind that lead boat.
Problem down on the race course. Alex Corella has stopped on the race circuit. Alex Corella, who is a 3-time winner, will not continue his streak. A big surprise for the driver who is hoping to chase down a 4th world championship. Alex Corella has come to a stop as this driver who is enjoying his 36th race has won in the last 7. And his luck has gone sour once again here in 2015. What a shocker there. Corella out of the race. He won't get a chance to go 4 in a row here in China.
No, and that's a shame because he was moving through the field at a heck of a pace out there and looked very, very strong. But back to the race itself there, you can see such is the pace of the number 1 CTIC China boat that he's now coming to lap his teammate Liu Zhuang, the Chinese driver, my goodness, 8.7 seconds, Steve. I think if it was down to me and I was in that boat, I think I'd start backing off a little bit now, because he doesn't want to put too much stress on that engine or on the propeller or even on the boat, because he knows he's got a commanding lead, but at the same time, if you start backing off, you can lose concentration. So, you know, he's got to keep very focused.
You answered the question that I was going to ask you. You want to set the red mist, you got to get the haze, you got to sit there, concentrate, and feel comfortable. If you start playing around with your comfort and think you've got too much of a lead, then you lose a bit of concentration, and all things can happen, and they're not usually good.
No, but at the moment, he seems to have everything in hand there. Al-Quamsi doing a sterling job in second place for Team Abu Dhabi, but certainly doesn't have much of an answer. Sami Celio, he had a crash in Portugal. The boat that he was running there, too much damage, they couldn't get it repaired, so he switched back to the boat that he ran about 4 years ago and had a lot of success. And it's not as quick as the latest design there built by Massimo Ruggiero in Italy, the Baba boat, but not doing a poor job out there at the moment in third position, with Al Rubayan falling back slowly in that fourth, Jonas Andersen in fifth.
Just a tick under 10 seconds between first and third, was Shep ahead of Celio, and in the sandwich, Thani Al-Quamsi in that second spot. There you see Celio. Celio comes in here. This is his 130th start. He hasn't won for over 10 races. He's had 2 wins in his last 14. And the last podium for him in the last 10. He's only had 1 podium in his last 10 races.
Yeah, and that's the race at the moment between Thani Al-Quamsi and Sami Celio, just coming down onto the long front straight of the race here, past the checkered, past the start-finish line, and Celio slowly but surely is he's starting to close that gap on Thani. Thani coming into back markers, they're not having a very good line, coming through that turn point, number 2, into number 3 on the far end of the circuit. Is this where Celio maybe will be able to make his move? And then he gets bogged down in the turn, and he's lost some ground again to Thani in that second position.
Great heated battle going on in the race course there as they fight their way for second place. Yusuf Al-Robian trying to stay in play, but he is 4 seconds back of Celio, but just a second between Celio and Thani Al-Quamsi. And another heated debate going on right now between the number 5 spot, Jonas Andersen. Torrente is closing in that number 77 Victory Team boat as they fight for that top 5 position right now. Jonas Andersen 5th in the championship, 5th on the race course, started 5th today.
Yeah, you can see in that shot there, you can see Thani Al-Quamsi just going out of sight there. Sami Celio now starting to put some more pressure on him. 2 different boats, 2 different engines, 2 different tuners, and they really are pushing. Sami there overshooting the turn by just a little bit, losing a little bit of ground on Thani there, who's really focused and pushing hard in that second position.
And Celio has won here in China before. He knows how to get to number 1. He won here in 2008, and he won again in 2009. And there's the difference between those two. And you can see that it looks like Thani Al-Quamsi, who has only raced a couple of times this year. Remember, he was a late arrival with Team Abu Dhabi. There was some discussion about who that second driver is. They had a bit of a miscue on that. He didn't race in Doha or Evian. He showed up, qualified 6th in Porto, and finished 6th. And today, he's looking strong in that number 2 position. This driver this afternoon starting his 113th race.
Yeah, and he's a very, very experienced driver. He knows what he needs to do. He's just keeping that gap fairly steady at about 3 or 4 seconds between himself and Celio in that 3rd slot. He doesn't seem now to be able to close down on him.
As we watch them on the far side of the course, yes, the wind is picking up just a tad, but not really enough to make any change in the rhythm for these drivers. Yesterday, right here, was really tough for them as they worked their way across severe crosswinds that were coming down, jettisoning down the north side of the race circuit. But today, not that case at all. You look at Thani Al-Quamsi in his 15th season, and he's got 5 points on there. He's tied for 11th in the championship, but if he finishes on the podium today, this would be a real big boost for him. He's running out of time, and he'd love to go back to Abu Dhabi and say, hey, look, I still got a chance for this championship.
Yeah, and I think now Chiap is backing off a bit there. We've got him in shot. He's now 7.35 seconds behind Thani in that second position, and you can see that he's not pushing as hard as he was. I think he wanted to find out what sort of pace he had and everybody else had, because before the Grand Prix, you never know what's been done to some of these bolts, engines and propellers and so on and so forth. but he just started pushing really hard. He built up that enormous gap, and you can see now he's probably dropped the RPM by about 400-500 on that engine, not putting quite so much stress in it, but he's still got to be careful, because you can see now he's going through some of the back markers again there, Steve, and you know, sometimes one of those can close down on you, and all of a sudden that gap is nothing.
And we go in on the later. We get a chance to watch him here now as he comes up on some back markers. Philippe Rams over there as he goes through the right-hander, skips through. You try to settle that, Jonathan. There's a couple of ways you can look at it. It's a hard right-hander heading down into a very tough turn number 5, 441 meters down.
Yeah, you see he's trying to keep a tight line there now, but again, because he's having to be very, very cautious with some of these back markers, you know, you can see him there trying to come on the inside of Rams. Rams himself on the straight is carrying some really good speed, so it's becoming a bit more difficult now as he closes down on some of the lead boats to overtake them. It does become more difficult to overtake them, and this is where Thani, who's got some clear water at the moment, we may see him closing down on him. He certainly is. 3.87 seconds, Steve. And so he's lost 3 seconds on the last lap.
Yeah, and the can of hope is coming out of the drawer for Thaniel Quimsey. He knows now, as you said, under 4 seconds, he can almost smell the exhaust note of that Mercury 2.5-liter engine as he closes the gap, starts to reel in the leader a bit. As you said, probably, most likely, he's setting a pace, but you don't want to get the opponent behind you any hope at all, or otherwise you might have a struggle as you work your way around this race circuit. Now with 30 laps gone, remaining here, a third of the way through this race here at the midpoint season of this 2015 campaign UIM Formula 1 H2O World Championship. Steve Michael, Jonathan Jones, we're glad you're with us today. And what a shame, Ahmed Alhamli struggling again today. He qualified in the 7th spot, started to drift backwards. He was down into about 11th position, and now again, nothing but bad hopes for the youngster. And you see Scott Gilman, 4-time world champion. Scott Gilman, who raced here 4 times in China, won 2 of those 4 races, and he knows what it takes to win here, and he's got to be disappointed. Ahmed Alhamli is struggling here.
Steve, that's a tough weekend for Team Emirates, isn't it? Because Start decided to switch from the DAC boat yesterday to the Baba boat, one of the very latest, very, very short boats. Incredibly fast, good acceleration, and he had a terrible accident last night, and he can't actually race today, and he's hoping to be okay for the final 2. But that boat was completely demolished, and now Alhamli out again today. That really is cruel luck for the Emirates team. But you can see there now, back to the race itself. We're picking up Thami and Quamsi there. Again, back markers starting to play a part in this. This may be an opportunity as he tries to overtake Philippe Rams. For Sami Celio just coming into slot, he's starting to close the gap.
Jonas Anderson may be in trouble. He got passed by Sean Torrente, and already he's 11 seconds behind Torrente, who now is up in the top 5. The driver from the Victory team, who is leading this points championship with 36 after a victory in Qatar to start the season. And from that point on, for Sean Torrente, he got a 4th in Evian, he got a 5th in Porto. He's clinging to that driver's championship right now, and obviously he doesn't want Philippe Shep to come home and complete the victory this afternoon, and he'll lose that number 1 spot.
Yeah, and he knows he's not got the very best of equipment out there at the moment. That's a pretty old boat that he's running, because the team Victory from Dubai, they're going to be bringing out their own boat come the race in Abu Dhabi, so that's going to be really exciting. Sean's developing that boat with them, so in the meantime they're just trying 1 or 2 different boats so that they can find out where the good areas of these boats are, and then incorporate all these designs into their new boat for the final 2 Grand Prix.
Yeah, we had a chance just a second ago to see a boat we haven't seen all year out on the race circuit, boat number 23, that's Bert Eisenhofer, the driver out of Austria, getting a chance. This is the first race of the year that he's run. He's been to every race, but he's finally getting some laps, and he's had all sorts of bad luck this year. And it's great to see the Austrian out there running, currently sitting in that 13th position in the boat number 23.
Yeah, Thani there, still in that 2nd position, 5.42 seconds behind the lead boat. And Sami Celio struggling a little bit to overtake his teammate at the moment, Philippe Rams. That has held him up a little bit. He's just got to pass him now down the far end of the circuit, and hopefully he can make up again a bit more ground on Thani. Doesn't seem to have an answer, does he, Steve? He can close down on him, but overtaking him is going to be another thing.
Well, there you see Sean Torrente out there right now, the driver out of Florida in his 25th start. As we said, he won the opening round in Doha. He's got 2 wins in his last 6 starts. Sean Torrente, the best qualifying effort he ever had here in China was a second back in 2013. His best finish, well, it was a fourth last year. He's never won here. He would just love to, but as you mentioned, it's not the best optimum package that he's got. He's running a good, strong boat, but it's an old boat. It's been sitting in a warehouse, and there you can see the brain trust of the Victory team keeping an eye on their driver. And of course, Nadar Ben-Hindi, what a shame he couldn't get a chance to run today, because in the morning warm-up, he and Torrente, his teammate, actually got together. They ran into each other. Torrente actually ran him down and put enough of a hole in that brand new boat they've got from France that he's now a spectator watching Sean Torrente.
Yeah, Robaille now, he's been running really strong all weekend. He's in that fourth position at the moment, 15 seconds behind the lead boat, but putting up a good effort, 5 seconds behind Sami Selyo in third position, and I think he's probably just taking it easy. Alex Radovanovic, they'll be talking to him on the radio, because there's contact between the driver and the crew chief on the land at all times, so that they can tell him exactly how the boat's running, who's behind him, who's ahead of him, whether he needs to make up ground or not. And I reckon they said, look, fourth is not a bad result. We can't close down on Sami Selyo that's just coming into shot there. Let's get a bag of points and move on from here. So looking pretty good there. Very, very stable in fourth position, with Torrente now up to fifth.
Selyo making the move as he sits in that third place position, now coming up and pushing his way past Jesper Fors, the young driver from Sweden. As you take a look at Thaniel Quimsey, the veteran driver. He's been around a long time. This is his 15th season. He's got 7 victories, he's got 47 top fives, and he's been on the podium 28 times. And this man has been running even longer. Sami Selyo, his 130th start this afternoon. For Selyo, he hasn't won in 9 races, and he's got 2 wins in his last 14, but he has only been on the podium once in his last 10. Don't forget this year with Selyo, as he was penalized, he thought he was on the podium. He went to the celebration in Evian, got tossed out by the officials for a penalty, finished 5th. Selyo's only finished once, and that was in Evian. He's crashed out the other 2 races, and you know what happened to him here in 2011. It was a real heart stopper.
Yeah, well, this is the actual boat that he was running in 2011, and it had a lot of damage, but they took it back to the workshops, they've repaired it, and they've kept that as his backup boat, so he takes that boat to every Grand Prix. Now, the boat he's been running for the last probably a dozen or so Grand Prix is really quite radical, incredibly fast, but when the conditions get bit rough out there, he finds it very difficult to control the boat, he was telling me, on the water. So he's gone back now to what he does know, what he's comfortable with, and I think he'd be happy out there with a third today, you know, bearing in mind where he started.
Gaggle of boats working their way around this race circuit. There you see Jonas Anderson 5th in this championship. Anderson currently 6th in this race. Today Jonas started in 5th. He's dropped back a spot, so this veteran driver from Fruvi, Sweden, in his 10th season, the 41-year-old is doing his best to move up. He's tied for 2nd in this championship. He actually tied for 4th in the championship with 24 points. He's still in a shout for this world title, but he's going to have to do a little bit more today. His rivals are in front of him. Sean Torrente, Yusuf Al-Robian, Sami Selyo, they're all pushing him hard. So Jonas Anderson's going to have to dig down deep and get a little bit more gritty here today in order for him to stay in the championship picture heading off to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to have the pace. Now, Jonas has gone down his own route. He actually tunes the engines himself. He has a workshop in Sweden, and he does a lot of work there. And he also works very closely with Christian Molgaard, the boat builder from Denmark. And this is a design they've been working on now and developing over the last 12 months, and they certainly are beginning to make up some ground. So he's a guy we need to watch out for towards the end of the year.
Tell you what, another person we need to watch out for is Sean Torrente. He just set a 45.98. He's got the 2nd fastest time of the day with a 45.18. Only Philippe Shep is a sub 45, did a 44.92. So Torrente is on a bit of a tear here, and he's trying to get up toward the podium. He knows that he's got to do well. He had a bit of a problem yesterday in qualifying. A bad luck. The starter went out on him. It was an easy fix, but by the time they towed him back to the dock, fixed the problem, brought him back out, time had run out in Q2, and he was hoping to shoot for a chance at the pole position. Instead, He started all the way down in the 9th position.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier, Steve. The guys that had to go around that demarcation point, they lost so much ground at the start of the race, almost impossible to pick up very different positions on that. Sean would have been definitely in a different position. But can I just say now, Steve, you can see there Thani Al-Kwanzi on the right-hand side. Sami Selyo in 3rd position, now starting to put some pressure on him and closing down that gap visibly.
Just a tick over a second between those two competitors as we watch them here on the race course. Less than 20 laps to go now. 26 of the 45 in the record books as we watch this fight continue between Thani Al-Kwanzi and Sami Selyo. Selyo made a mistake going in the right-hander. Oh, that hurt him.
Yeah, it certainly did. You could see he closed up to about 1 second. Then Thani got a beautiful line through the right-hander. Clear water ahead of him. Seemed to pull away a little bit. Sami settled the boat, slowed it down by about 15-20 mile an hour, and that's cost him about 2 seconds.
So Selyo's going to have to reel him back in again. Boy, I'll tell you, that's an awful feeling for a driver. Just when you know you're making the move, you're getting closer and closer, and all of a sudden you make a mistake, and you go, oh, no, I lost all that water ground. Now I got to come back.
Yeah, and they're so evenly matched, aren't they? You know, lap times between these, there's not even a 1/10 of a second. So it's a case of hoping that one of the back markers slows down Thani there and maybe allows Sami to close that gap on him. But, you know, it's going to be one thing closing up to him. It's going to be another thing actually overtaking him. Thani's going to have to make a big mistake now for Sami to be able to steal that 2nd position away from him.
All right, you see Selyo, and just behind him, Youssef Al-Robian. And guess what? Sean Torrente is starting to reel in Youssef Al-Robian for that 4th spot. He is now less than 2 seconds from Youssef Al-Robian the last time around. So Torrente continues his momentum charge as he moves himself up massively, pushing himself closer and closer toward a podium.
There's the battle at the moment, Steve. Number 9, Rubayan, and the victory boat of Sean Torrente. Torrente really throwing that boat into turn number 1, going down to the far end of the circuit into turn number 2. Rubayan knows he's got a battle on his hands. Torrente again settling the boat, getting dirty water, losing a little bit. They're coming up against back markers, Steve.
As the fuel load goes down in that Baba boat, Torrente for the last 2 laps in a row has gone 1.5 seconds faster than Youssef Al-Robian the last 2 times around. Let's see what he does here as he works his way around the Swedish driver. 4s and 4s now makes Torrente be very, very cautious as he tiptoes around out of the corner in 5 and heading towards 6. But you can see now how close these 2 competitors are getting.
Yeah, almost in the same shot now as Torrente again goes down that long straight. He's got some clear water ahead of him now to see if he can close that gap on Rubayan, the Q80 driver. One running a DAC, that's Rubayan, and then just behind him is Jean Torrente running another boat built in Italy, the Baba boat, prepared by the Victory team in Dubai. This team have dominated in Class 1, that's the offshore equivalent of what we're running. For many, many years, they've come into Formula 1 now, Steve, and they want to win badly. So, and they've got the right guy driving their boat as well.
Yeah, let's keep an eye on these 2 now. They've had clear water this last lap as Youssef Al-Robian found himself 1.2 seconds faster than Torrente, who made a pass the last time around. Let's check it here, Jonathan. The fast time between these 2, and again, Rubayan was about 0.5 seconds faster than Torrente, so Torrente's lost a bit of ground in this battle, as it is almost close to 3 seconds. So Youssef Al-Robian was able to dial up a little bit more, but again, lap after lap, situations are fluid here on the water, no pun intended. Boy, this is where you end up seeing it right here. Who's got the faster boat? Where on the circuit are they faster? And can they make up ground in the corners?
Rubayan again, beautiful turn there down the far end into number 5. Cross that short chute, 183 meters into the final, turn number 6 and down the straight. Back marker coming into play shortly, Steve, just before the teammate of Sami Selyo. Are they going to get stuck behind him? Will this allow Torrente to close that gap?
Torrente went a little bit quicker the last time around. He was down by almost 3 seconds. It's closer now this time as he gathered another 0.7 of a second closer to Youssef. And let's see how Youssef works as he comes up closer and closer toward the boat out in front of him as he fights his way down this race course.
Yep. Oh, you could see Rubayan there almost losing control of the boat as he trims around the corner. to get more air in the tunnel between the two sponsons, get more acceleration, but he's got to be really, really careful because this little DAC is a flighty boat. Doesn't take much for that to blow over, but as they come down the straight passes again, Steve, that gap seems to be about, it's about the same 2 seconds.
Boy, you're right. Identical times, a 48.06 or a 46.06 for Rubayan, a 46.07. So the difference, 1/100th of a second, and that goes to Rubayan the last time around.
Yeah, you can see again, they were coming into shot there, almost together. The number 77 Baba boat there, victory boat, as we mentioned earlier on. Of Tarente, not being able to do anything at the moment. He certainly scythed his way through the traffic and got up into that 5th position. But you know, between 5th and 1st, a lot of these boats are very evenly matched, so it's really difficult to close down and overtake them.
Longest race of the year this afternoon, 45 laps around this 2-kilometer race circuit as we wind our way down to the final 12. 33 in the record books, 45 left to go. It's decision time now for a lot of drivers. The boats are getting lighter, they're getting more flighty. Jonathan, any tips? You see anything right now that's giving an advantage from one to the other?
No, I think when you get to this point in the race, Steve, it's all about concentration. It's mind over matter. You're probably aching. You've been thrown around in that boat. It's hot in there. You know, you're getting tired, but the pressure is still on. So you've got to concentrate. You've got to watch for the back markers. You can see Rubayan there. Oh, sorry, we've got Daniel Kwamsi there. And Sami Selyo still having that battle. And, almost losing it there as he tries to overtake a back marker. Jesper Force there, the other Swedish driver, and tries to get a clean line around him. Lost a bit of ground there again. Thani pulls away.
That's Jonas Andersson, who's down in 7th position, and that's just showing you the speed of the front runners, the top people up in fighting for podium positions, because Jonas Andersson's getting lapped here by the drivers up front. So the difference between the top 3 as we watch them come by, and it's right now as Philippe Shep running a 46.19. He continues to run spectacular laps out in front, and his lead is over 15 seconds. But now Selyo's getting closer. It's 2 seconds between he and Thani Alquimsi. Maybe now this is the battle that we should focus in on here for the next couple of laps. The battle for second place between Selyo and Alquimsi is getting tighter and tighter, while Alrobian and Sean Tarente continue their battle within 3 seconds of each other.
But back at the front there, Philippe Chiap, everything under control, Steve. 15.16 seconds ahead of Thani Alquamsi in second. And we go on board with him now just to see what it's like throwing a Formula One boat at 140 mile an hour around this circuit here in China.
Less than 9 laps to go here as we watch our leader. The driver from Royal France is hoping against hope about coming up with an opportunity to win his 2nd straight World Championship. He's in his 96th race. He's only won 4 times during that time, but boy, he saved his best for last. A year ago, as we watch here in slow motion, the 2 boats almost touching as they pulled away from each other. As you can see, it was that Alquimsi trying to make a move, and it looked like he and Jonas Andersson were getting very, very tight, and they almost tagged each other and traded paint as they came through that corner.
And that really did hold up Thani, and Sammy thought, this is my opportunity. If I'm going to do anything, it's got to be in the next couple of laps. He has closed that gap again, but not quite enough, Steve.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Thani was able to improve on his real estate, pulling away just a bit. Now, the difference between those 2 right now is about 2.5 seconds. So Thani was able to get back about a half a second despite the problem that he was having here. So you can see he still's got the speed with Team Abu Dhabi as he races around in 2nd place with less than 8 laps to be held here on the Leo River. Steve Michael here for the 20th year in China. Jonathan Jones, my partner. We've been together 15 years.
We've just been told, Steve, there's a drive-through for Sean Tarente, so he's obviously either missed a turn boy or something, so that's going to certainly put him back. He's in 5th at the moment. That's going to cost him dearly.
And Marit Stromoy is starting to move up. She has worked her way up into that 6th spot. So the woman from Norway getting very, very feisty. What a shame for the driver, who is your world driving points leader at this point as we start the 2nd half of this season. So Torrente with a victory team. As the UIN commissioner has caught Torrente with his hand in the cookie jar. He obviously did something wrong here, Jonathan. And now he's going to have to pay the price of coming through slowly, 4,000 RPM through the drive-through penalty, and he's going to lose a few positions doing this.
Yeah, we've been told that he's got a drive-through, but again, we don't know why he's had the drive-through. And I can see the officials there talking with the victory team, trying to explain exactly what's happened, and we're a little in the dark about that at the moment as we go back to Sammy Selyo there now in that third slot. Still that gap of 2 seconds. He just cannot seem to do anything with Thani Al-Kwanzi in that Abu Dhabi boat. Still in that second position. Now 11.29 seconds behind the lead boat of Team China and Philippe Chiap.
Philippe Chiap setting the pace. There's the man in second place, trying to close up on the leader, but at the same time, he knows the man right behind him there, as with just 2 seconds behind, so he cannot let up. Selyo desperately trying to pick up any points that he can here in second place as he fights his way around. So Sami Selyo knowing there's still a chance with less than 5 laps to go in this race this afternoon here from the lovely Liao River here in southern China.
His only saving grace is going to be in the next 3 or 4 laps as you see Thani coming through there, driving for all he's worth. Sami Selyo taking exactly the same line. They've got back markers ahead of them, about 4 or 5 seconds. Are the back markers going to let Thani through, or is that going to allow Sami to close the gap and maybe just take that second slot away from him?
Well, good choice. We don't know yet the formula, how it'll pay off, as we see Thani airing that boat out and putting it up on its tail. Oh my, he almost blew that over. He is getting that boat. He's rearing it up really high as we look now at Marit Stromoy, who's having a whale of an afternoon, sitting in that 6th place position. Marit Stromoy started all the way down in the 11th position, actually had an ace of a start. She was able to pass Sean Torrente to start the race and quickly fell behind him, but now she's steadily working her way up. She's almost been stealth-like in doing it. We haven't noticed it, but boy, is she running strongly. She's running 46-second laps. And her competitors behind her, Jonas Anderson's running a 48-second lap. Duarte Benavente back in the 8th position, running one in the 47.
Yeah, we haven't given this girl a lot of airtime actually today, Steve, have we? But yesterday she had a lot of problems. For the last 3 races, she's had a problem with the power steering system on the boat. They put in one of the very latest Japanese systems in there yesterday. It's resolved that problem. They had electrical problems this morning. They had the boat on the test wheel, making sure that the engine was running well. Couldn't find it. They changed all the electrics on the boat. They couldn't afford to take a chance. And she really has shown her way out there this afternoon, Steve. That boat number 50, the Baba boat there, which they've been developing with her husband who works for the Baba factory. They both live up in Scandinavia, and a great job from her to pull through into that 6th position, although it'd be down 1 lap on the lead boat.
Well, she's had 2 top 10 finishes so far this year in the top 10. She's had 4 in the last 8. Her best qualifying here was the 7th. Her best race ever was here with a 5th in 09, so she's trying to match that pace today. She's never had more than a top 5 finish, and right now she's sitting in that 6th position. Less than 2 laps to go. Less than 2 laps to go here in this race. We still haven't seen Sean Torrente take his run through. And at the same time, as he comes charging through, our leader, it's down to 6.83 seconds. Philippe Chiap, is he backing off?
Yeah, he's backing off. Steve, he doesn't need to show anything anymore there. All he needs to do is take care of his equipment, keep himself focused, not let that boat get too loose on top of the water. He's probably dropped. You can hear as the engine comes past us there. The boat comes past us. You can see the engine's dropped. Probably 1,000 RPM. His crew chief is obviously talking to him as he goes around the circuit, explaining exactly where Thani is in that 2nd position. He knows he's got a big gap, 8.08. I think he can cruise home from here, Steve.
All right, we'll wait and see here as he works his way around. We look up and we see Philippe Chiap, the driver from France, as he fights his way around here. He comes down with just a few more corners in this race. For him, he's hoping to take home his 2nd Grand Prix event of the year. And for the driver from France, he comes across it. Yes, Philippe Chiap of France does a wonderful job and picks up his 2nd victory of the year Congratulations, and for the first time ever, Philippe Shep will come home with a victory in China. First time ever for the Chinese team. What a great day for China here in 2015 with Philippe Shep taking the victory.
Oh, that is a great result there. Philippe Desertan that's put that team together in La Rochelle in France. David Moore, the boat builder. Alex Ledden that's worked very closely with his team. You can see they're so happy there and developed the engine over the last couple of years with them. It's all about a package there, Steve, and they've got a strong package. And you can see there Philippe Desertan with the sponsors that have supported this team from China over the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, they are truly ecstatic.
What a great, great afternoon for this man and this team. Mr. Dynamite, of course, the propeller man and from Austria, as you mentioned. And I'll tell you something, Philippe Shep now knows that it's his championship to lose. All of a sudden now he has jettisoned himself up, picking up 20 points, and that moves him up into the #1 position here in this championship. And he has picked up 55 points for the driver. This is all, of course, unofficial at this point, but Philippe Shep, wow, what a great day. You can hear the thousands of fans behind us cheering, standing, and yelling for Philippe Shep, the driver from France.
Very, very good result for him, I must say. And I mean, it's important as well because, you know, they're obviously looking for new sponsors for next year. They've got to keep their existing sponsors happy, you know, to show what they can do out there. And boy, as a package, that was amazing today. I mean, he pulled out 8 seconds in 2 laps from Thani Al-Quamsi, the Abu Dhabi driver, so they've got some work to do. And, you know, he hasn't shown the true potential of that package all through the day, all through the weekend, Steve, has he? You know, he went out this morning, everybody was trying to put fast times in practice. He went out, he did 2 laps, sort of middle of the field, made sure that the engine was running nicely. They'd chosen the right propeller and everything else, put it on the trailer, left it there, didn't want to put too much time on the engine. And, you know, a tremendous amount of experience as well. And when I spoke to him, I said, you know, do you get all wound up in it? No, he said, I'm dead cool before every race. I don't get stressed. He said, you know, it's my job. I just get on with it. And very, very good. They're all looking really happy, aren't they? And a fantastic result for that team.
And more importantly, for Philippe Shep, all the competitors behind him had trouble today. Because now Yusuf Al-Robian had a nice day. He finished down in 4th. He was able to gain some points. Sean Torrente, interestingly enough, as we look at the boats being towed away, and you can see the celebration starting on the dock with the CTIC China team, they elected not to take the 1-lap penalty, but yet they finished a lap ahead of Marit Stromoy in that 6th position. So how do you play that out, Jonathan? That'll be interesting to see how whether he lost a position or not, despite not electing to go through the 1-lap penalty.
Well, I'm just looking at the UIM officials, and they are talking to the Victory team at the moment. Are the Victory team, do they not agree with the officials? And are they possibly going to say, well, look, if they decide to put him down a lap, we'll protest it? I can see Steve's having a chat now with the Victory team leader. Okay. What's happening, Steve?
Well, we're hearing from the Victory team, and a great shot there, Arif Al-Zamin, as he looks out. They said that Sean Torrente hit a buoy over down on the far side, turns 2 and 3, and he did not elect to go through, run through the penalty lap to come through. So,
so he would drop a lap for that, wouldn't he? But that would mean, was he far enough forward to retain that 5th place from Marit Stromoy in that 6th?
Very, very interesting, because he had a lap ahead of the rest of the field. Yeah. So unofficially, here's where we stand right now. A big 20 points for Philippe Shep. Thani Al-Quamsi having his best day of the season, picking up 15 and only his 3rd race. Sami Celio moves up with 12 points. He's got 19 on the year. And then Yusuf Al-Robian picks up 9 more points. And Sean Torrente, we believe, currently picks up 7 points with his 5th place position. And what a great day for Marit Stromoy, as Stromoy comes home with 5 points in that 6th place position. Jonas Andersson, who was tied for 4th in the championship, started 5th, finished 7th, got 4 more points. Duarte Benavente having a decent day for him. Started 6th, finished down in the 8th spot, and then Jasper Forbes gets a couple. for the young driver out of Sweden. And then how about another young driver, Liu Zhuang, in his 4th year, getting a point, his first point of the year in his 4th race, and he got it here in China despite all his bad luck that he had yesterday.
Yeah, and a good result for him, really, Steve, isn't it? I mean, he showed well on the water. He had good pace out there. He was not as fast as the front runners, but we knew that was going to be the case. But if you look at some of the younger drivers that are moving up through the field from Formula 4 into Formula 1, he's certainly showing that he's got a lot of potential for the future.
Well, as you look out in a beautiful location here, we know what the results were unofficially on the race course this afternoon for all drivers. How about the team standings? Let's see if we can put together a clearer picture of how things are going. And, of course, with Philippe Shep's 2 victories in a row now, jettisoning them up to 56 points, making it look easy. Team Abu Dhabi having a solid year with 41 points. But look at Formula 1 Team Atlantic with Duarte Benavente and Yusuf Al-Robian. They're right there in 3rd. That's the best they've done in a long, long time. And Sami Celio's Mad Croc team, 38. Team Sweden with Jonas Andersson and Mark Forst trucking along. And then how about the new EMIC team with 27 in that 6th place position. The Victory team struggling today because they thought maybe the driver could do a little bit better. And, of course, their 2nd driver, Ben Hindi, didn't get a chance to run today. Team Qatar, that was Sean Torrente's only race of the year. With them's got 20. And then the Emirates team for Scott Gilman, disappointing with 16. And then Motoclass, that's Francesco Catano with 9. And then Team Maverick, which is not running the full season, picked up 3 so far here in 2015. Wow. Well, a long race, 45, but it went by pretty fast, Jonathan. And it seemed like once that Philippe Shep, your defending world champion, took off like a scared jackrabbit, flew down this race course, and said goodbye to everybody after about 2 laps. It was a matter of just pacing yourself, getting home. Thaniel Quimsey, in only his 3rd race this year, did his darndest in that Team Abu Dhabi boat to stay right with him, finished 7 seconds down. And Sami Celio just over 4 seconds behind. Here's the Drivers' Championship right now, unofficially. With Shep continuing to lead. He doesn't have it in the back pocket by any means. And, boy, there's still 40 points up for grabs. So we've got a myriad of drivers still in the mix. Torrente, despite his less than stellar afternoon, picked up 47 more points. He's got 43. He's right there in the mix. And he's just 12 points back. And then Yusuf Al-Robian in that 3rd place. Jonas Andersson up to 28 points now after picking up 4 today. And, of course, tough day for Eric Stark. This weekend's been bad. Didn't get a chance to run. He sits down now. He slid from 3rd down to 5th in the standings. And then Thaniel Quimsey with a good run today with 20 points, with him coming home in 2nd place. As you look farther down, Alex Corella dropped out early. His aspirations for a 4th world title really disappearing quickly. Looks like Philip Rams with 19 tied with him, and Sami Celio. So Celio and his young teammate are tied with 19, and then Maurice Stromoy coming up having a solid 6 today, has 11 in the points, and then Francesco Catando running his 18th race here in China, 9 points over the year, and then Jesper Fors, the young driver from Sweden, only his 8th start. As we look farther down, and you can see that other drivers fighting there is Christoph Lerigo with 4 points. Marzalak from Poland didn't run today. Benavente picking up 4 points. And, of course, Deguin, the Frenchman, not finishing out the year. Delpin raced once, and then Al-Hamli, and then Liu Zhuang getting a point for the first time in 2015, and why not right here? So there you go. So very unofficial, but I'll tell you something. The championship is still a bit up for grabs, but tell you something, a nice 12-point margin right now. Nice cushion that Philippe Shep has. And this team really is just brimming with confidence right now, and they are looking very strong.
Yeah, you're right. It's very important, and they are confident, and they're just going out there doing their job, and they're going to be strong to try and beat before the end of the year.
Well, I'll tell you the big thing that I think is fantastic, that as we get closer to wrapping up the afternoon, let's give you a feel for this lovely area of southern China that's been so special to all of us for these so many years. Tropical and lovely Liuzhou here in China one more time.
Liuzhou, the city of over 3.5 million people, is located on the banks of the windy Liu River, 255 kilometers from Nanning, in the welcome subtropical climate from far south. in the People's Republic of China. The city of Liuzhou, more than 2,100 years old, known as the Dragon City. The landscape is a mix of rolling hills, mountain peaks, caves, and ideal for exploring the many mountain villages in the area. Liuzhou has a large population of ethnic minorities, and there are many celebrations and festivals all year long. The area is famous for its jade, wonderstone, garments, and ornaments made by ethnic minorities, while fresh fruits are grown in the climate with kumquats, oranges, grapefruits, and the most popular and exported throughout the country. The young people today enjoy the benefits of a growing economy that comes with success in its automobile, steel products, and garment district that has really sent the area to new heights. It's a city of history, of culture, with flair of the modernistic style. It's all here in lovely Liuzhou, China.
What a thrill to come here year after year. And of course, the scenery, you can't beat it. It's very unique. You don't see these types of lovely grizzled mountains around the world except for here. Let's look back on the afternoon as we started off the second half of the 2015 campaign here at the 21st Grand Prix of China, and the 8th time that we have raced here in Liuzhou. And I'll tell you what, it was really dramatic. We had 19 drivers from 12 different countries that were ready to start this race this afternoon. 45 tough laps around in order to go around this 6-pin, 2-kilometer race course. And tell you what, it was a tough day for a lot of competitors in the back of the field. A few surprises that we did see, but more importantly, it was Philippe Shep's day as he came home with the victory, starting in that #1 pole position. And as we get a chance to watch the replay of this race, let's look at the highlights here. From the back of the field, you can see Philip Roms trying to push forward. A great start there by Francesco Catando as he came charging up the field. Had to split the difference here. The top 6 drivers heading for the commitment buoy. And then they had to go off the rest of the field. The other 9 drivers had to go out on the far side and slide their way around a demarcation buoy. So as they raced off, and water conditions that were almost ideal after having such rough conditions yesterday in qualifying. And look at the jump that Philippe Shep got right off the bat as the Frenchman worked his way around, and look at the difference that he made on the inside lane. That's why it's so very important to get pole position, and he showed it right there as he came racing down and then jettisoned himself and rocketed away down the front straightaway in full flight. Daniel Quimsey trying to chase him. Sami Celio on the outside there, giving him a bit of a run, and that was actually Yusuf Al-Robian hanging right in there with him. As Al-Robian, who started in 3rd, thought maybe he'd get a little feisty early. And here you could see some of the push that was going on as Ahmed Al-Hamli got passed by very quickly as he struggled going through that right-hander as they pushed side by side. There you could see Sami Celio making the move for the podium as he was shoving his way up through that 2nd place. Yusuf Al-Robian making it very difficult for the veteran from Finland, the 2-time world champion, to get by. They were side by side, scraping paint for almost a full lap. And finally, Celio in his old classic Baba boat, one that he crashed here heavily back in 2011, but had to go to because it was his backup, and his premier boat had too much damage after 2 different crashes in 2015, and I think he was happy with it as he came around the corner. What a shame for Alex Corella. He had won 3 races in a trot. He had a truck, and he was hoping for better. Let's go to the podium. Let's pick it up as we go live. There you can see, finishing there in that 3rd place position over on the right side of your screen, Sami Celio and Daniel Quimsey taking the laurels, finishing in 2nd. And on the top spot, Philippe Shep from France. Not a rookie by any means, Jonathan. He now has 5 career victories, and he's got 96 career starts. He's really blossomed since 2013 when we were in Kiev.
Yeah, very, very focused driver, and he's done a lot of endurance racing and things like that in the past. And, you know, there's never any substitute for time in the boat to make yourself feel comfortable and get the best out of it. And there you can see there are tens of thousands of people there cheering Team CTIC China. Thani El Kwamzi in that second slot for Team Abu Dhabi. He looks pretty happy out there, Steve, doesn't he? And Sammy just glad to get that monkey off his back and get back on the podium.
And Eric Chan joining him. CTIC China, #1 for the first time in 21 years of coming to China. It's the first time ever a Chinese team has won on home soil, and boy, is that fantastic. Look at Eric Chan. He's worked so hard over the years to make this Chinese event a big and special and one you never forget about. Glorious memories all the years we've been coming to China, and he's earned every bit of this trophy and flowers and the accolades he's going to get here in the next few days, because he's worked harder than anybody to help make this happen here in China.
And all credit to Philippe Desertan from that owns that Team TIC China team, because I mean he is the guy that's convinced Eric to get involved with the sport, and not only support the team but actually put on events in China, because Eric is very instrumental in this particular Grand Prix here happening, together with many races we've had in the past in China. So this is the guy that is pushing powerboat racing in China, and we already know that some of the younger Chinese drivers are now racing in Formula 4, and hopefully, you know, those guys like Liu Zhuang will start coming through into Formula 1 in the future, and who knows, one day maybe a world champion for Formula 1 powerboat racing coming out of China.
As we get a chance to hear the final few notes of the Chinese national anthem, all smiles here in Liuzhou.
No bigger smile there than Eric Chan. You can see him putting that trophy aloft there, and I've seen him happy in the past, but I've never seen him as happy as he has been all weekend, actually. They seem to know that everything seemed to be going their way. They got that pole position. They knew today, as long as they got a clean start, then they just pull away from the rest of the field, which is what they did. And you can see the backdrop there, Steve. Boy, what a wonderful setup we have here in Liuzhou.
Wonderful backdrop, and we hate to leave you now, but for all those stations leaving us, thanks for stopping by. For my partner Jonathan Jones and all the great Idea Marketing crew, we say whether it's good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever in the world you may be at the moment, you've been watching the most exciting racing entertainment on water, the UIM Formula 1 World Championship Series. Don't forget to join us for the 5th round of this championship from Abu Dhabi in the heart of the Middle East on the 10th and 11th of December for the Grand Prix of Abu Dhabi. In the meantime, you can follow all the news by going to our official website at www.f1h20.com. Until then, on a memorable afternoon here in lovely Liuzhou, I'm Steve Michaels saying go out and make it a great day. And so long from spectacular southern China.